Morning guys, how y'all doing? Hope you're doing awesome today. Happy Sunday. So today I'm going to read about This is How to Respond to the Next Time Someone Insists on Good Vibes Only. It's by Chandler Plante. So let's check it out. It's about positive thinking. There's no denying the power of positive thinking, especially as we attempt to cope with yet another stressful wave of the pandemic. Focusing on positivity can be helpful in providing perspective. However, when we attempt to wallpaper over our legitimate fears and anxieties with positivity instead of processing and dealing with these darker emotions, things can turn toxic quickly. Whether it's that one coworker consistently telling you everything is going to be fine, or the slew of multicolored self-care graphics on your timeline, shallow attempts to magically extinguish negative feelings are neither effective nor ideal for your mental health. So then, if toxic positivity isn't the answer, what coping mechanisms can you what coping mechanisms actually work? And do you keep yourself from falling into the common quicksand traps of toxic positivity? To find out, we spoke to mental health experts about healthier alternative to toxic positivity. These strategies can help you feel better mentally, provide some relief with COVID-19 related grief. There's also some links there, guys, if you want to check out the links. And stress, and keeping you from feeling misunderstood the next time your worries are diminished with an offhanded, it's going to be it's going to be fine, don't worry about it. What does toxic positivity really mean? Toxic positivity is best described as the idea that authentic or genuine negative emotions could be passed by in favor of positive thinking. According to Dr. Alison Ford, an assistant professor for the Department of Counseling at Wake Forest University, these thought patterns often develop with good intentions. Many of us have been taught not to dwell on negative emotions, but they are still characterized by invalidations and overgeneralizations that Dr. Forte said do not properly contextualize a person's entire life situation or the full range of emotions. Some common examples of toxic positivity include phrases like good vibes only or see the good in everything, which though well-meaning, aren't helpful messages for people dealing with pain and anxiety from the pandemic or otherwise. If you take a step back, it can be easier to see how phrases like these minimize and dismiss real painful emotions people are experiencing, which can make them feel even more isolated in those feelings. Interesting. Why doesn't toxic positivity work? Positive thinking isn't inherent a bad thing, but its use as a way to diminish or to dismiss very real emotion, it becomes problematic. There is no need to sugarcoat the facts, said Kimberly King, an author and crisis counselor with the Rowan Center. Toxic positivity takes away from the trauma and real pain many people have been through. She explained, this is especially true during the pandemic, in which so many are experiencing heightened amounts of grief and worry. Toxic positivity can silence negative emotions, dismiss grief, and make people feel pressured to pretend to be happy even when they are struggling with overwhelming emotions. There we go. Suppressing negative feelings can have a variety of detrimental effects on one's lifestyle as well, said Dr. Carly Manley, a clinical psychologist and author. When a person feels angry, stressed, negative, sad, or irritable, ignoring these feelings to put on a happy face can lead to additional stress, anger, irritability, and unhealthy coping mechanisms such as overeating, alcohol abuse, and other addictive patterns, she said. Ultimately, toxic positivity is a defense mechanism that can hurt more than it helps. Cool. Interesting. Enlightening article here today. What are some better alternatives to toxic positivity? Instead of avoiding or covering up difficult emotions, experts say that the best thing to do is to embrace them and try to work through them. One way to do this is to remind yourself that not all stress is inherently bad, suggests Asha R. Shabazz, a social worker and therapist. Because of the pandemic, there are a significant amount of uncertainty and stress that can be introduced into our lives. And this uncertainty is extremely uncomfortable, Shabazz says. Accepting life as a mixture of pleasant and unpleasant moments can help us maintain more realistic expectation. Expecting everything to be positive at all times is unrealistic. Fortunately, King said there are additional healthy ways to stay positive while still processing the full spectrum of your emotions. You can do this by having a family meet to check in and communicate, she said. Review lessons learned, things that made the family strong. You can make a list of specific things you or your family are grateful for. King said practicing gratitude and focusing on communication are smart ways to shift away from toxic positivity and towards positive practices that aren't so harmful. Cool. The solution here is good. Another way to handle fluctuating emotions is to review your feelings as neutral instead of positive or negative. The more you get into the habit of not judging your emotions as good or bad, the more you'll learn to see your emotion as an important messengers of what you need or don't need, Dr. Manley said. For example, if you're feeling upset or stressed, instead of judging yourself for those emotions, you can look at them as cues to tell you that you need to take a bath, spend time with one of your hobbies, call a friend, go to the gym, or cook a new recipe. That way, instead of getting bogged down by a bad feeling, you can use them as a catalyst for practice that you know make you feel positive emotion. When we pause to slow down, we are far more likely to choose healthy coping mechanisms rather than self-destructive ones. Self-awareness is good. If it's the people around you who are the ones perpetuating toxic positivity, Dr. Forte suggests trying to share your acceptance of negative feelings. Someone who frequently engages in toxic positivity may feel uncomfortable or vulnerable when negative emotions are accessed, she said. Let the person know you think feeling mad or sad is okay. That feeling and acknowledging the negative stuff makes them human and more fully connected to themselves and others. Once we can accept that it's okay not to be positive 100% of the time, we can become smarter about how we cope with them and learn to take care of our emotions. Okay, guys, that's the end of that article. I thought it was awesome. I never knew that was a thing, that negative positivity, but let's just embrace our emotions as they are and carry on. Alright, guys, have a great day. Thank you, and we'll see you again